Let's go over some of the shading techniques that we'll use on the Falcon itself. First we'll start on the left hand side and focus on the wing area. Now you already outlined your paper, so now we're going to concentrate on the wing area. So you have it outlined already. It should be fairly light, so it's not the main thing you'll see once we apply a texture. I liken this to more like a dark grain of rice or sesame seed. That way when they combine each other, they will give a similar effect to the actual image that we were copying from. First you'll start inside of an outline, and you will go and start making these oval type rice shapes with your pencil. Try to keep them a similar size, and you'll space them very closely together. You will stop when there is an outline, and you'll go to the contour of the outline. I'm starting with this top feather. As you notice, I stopped right there because that's going to be a white space. If I were going to the next feather, I would continue over here. Keeping my my shapes, my rice-like shapes, consistent. And so on. Alright, next area, let's talk about the back of the bird of the head here. So the darkest areas are here, parts of the cheek here, the eye of course, and there's some areas near the front of the neck. So let's talk about the back of the neck. Obviously when it's darkest we can use our pencil to shade it in, like so. You can use the tip for control and the side of the pencil when you want to blend it more. When we have these areas over here, there's lighter values, but it's not completely white. It actually has speckles of value on it. So one way you could approach it is you can do little dots inside those outlines that look like almost like flying birds. Okay, and you would continue to do that. Then you'd fill in the areas where it's darkest. Alright, also there are two areas that have a interesting texture. On the cheek and near the top of the head, there's this texture where there's some white value, but it's very much in small spot areas. There is a technique called scumbling, which is basically doing random patterns of lines, and I like to, compare it to maybe doing the figure 8, just keeping that figure 8 loosely, smaller, bigger, overlapping somewhat. And I'm using the tip of my pencil to get a fairly dark value. So you'll have some areas that do have some white spots in it. So you'll do that there in the cheek, and you'll do that there near the top of the head as well. But as you see in the picture, there's parts of the areas where it goes to a solid value, especially on the cheek and towards the edge. So all you have to do is use your tip for control, blend it in, go back to scumbling, adjust it, and you'll have a similar texture to the image. on the cheek, there is a part where the feathers kind of taper off. So you just simply use your pencil and use at a slight angle and kind of fan out the feathers. Now we have to make a transition from the scumbling to where it goes to a more solid value. So from there we can just use our side of the pencil and press firmly to get the same value as the scumbling. Try not to go too far over so you don't lose your texture on your cheek of the falcon. So basically you would get everything you need as far as texture with the scumbling and using the tip of your pencil, feathering out the edges, and also using the side of your pencil to blend. One more area near the eye is very similar to a thumbprint, where it has concentric lines that come out and radiate from the white part of the eye near the border, and then it goes out. So simply you're going to go and follow that outline of the eye closely, and you're going to have another line fairly close, and as you get towards away from the eyeball, it will spread out a little bit further. Okay, so that's how we got that. So then, you know, of course you can extend your lines as it is in the image. So as you farther go out, your line spread out and you get maybe a little bit lighter as well. So that's the basic technique on the eye. Lastly, we're going to talk about the texture on the beak and also on the breast of the falcon. So there's a technique called stippling, and it basically is using the tip of your pencil, and you're going to use the tip of your pencil for this example right here and just do little dots. You can do them fairly rapidly, but the main thing is try to control it so you have a simple dot instead of a mark. You can practice on a separate piece of paper. So as the closer you go between dots, the darker the value will be. So you need to adjust that for the area. So here you're going to do closer dots to get a darker value. Now when you're down here towards the breast of the or front of the falcon, they're going to be more spread out. Okay. Also, to keep your dots focused, you're going to keep your pencil up and down, kind of like a woodpecker pecks at a wood, a tree. So it's a controlled movement, and you'll space out your dots for the value. Okay. It also helps if your tip is not too sharp, so you get a little bit broader dot. Okay. So if you continue that, you should be able to get everything you need in the falcon and reproduce all the textures in this project. And of course, when you have a dark value, use the combination of your tip and your side of your pencil for control. Good luck.